This is Armageddon, World War I, when the world's empires crumble. By 1917, the world is exhausted, and the empires that once ruled confidently are beginning to fracture. The bodies have piled up, the trenches have stagnated, and yet the war machine keeps grinding forward. Soldiers on all sides are starting to question everything. This is no longer about victory. It is about survival. In Russia, the pressure cooker bursts. The Tsar, once viewed as divine, is now seen as the symbol of a broken system. Food shortages and endless defeats push the people into the streets. The army refuses to fire on them. Nicholas II is forced to abdicate in March 1917. A provisional government replaces him, but it makes a crucial mistake. It promises to continue the war. The Russian people are furious. Their hunger is not just for food, but for peace. In Germany, generals smile at the collapse of their eastern enemy. They see opportunity. They help smuggle an exiled revolutionary back into Russia, Vladimir Lenin. He brings with him a new kind of war. Lenin calls for land, peace, and bread. His message cuts through the chaos and ignites the Bolshevik movement. By November, his Red Guard storms Petrograd. Russia changes overnight. Bolsheviks seize power and immediately begin negotiating peace with Germany. At Brest-Litovsk, they sign a humiliating treaty, surrendering vast territory in exchange for an end to the bloodshed. The Eastern Front goes quiet. Germany celebrates. The first time in years, they can shift divisions westward. But the victory is not clean. The troops transferred from the east bring more than rifles. They bring fatigue, trauma, and bitterness. France is cracking. The spring of 1917 brings massive mutinies across the French army. Troops refuse to go over the top. They're willing to defend, but no longer to die for senseless orders. French generals crush the mutinies quietly, executing ringleaders and promising rest. But morale is shattered. The army will never be the same. The British suffer terrible losses at Passchendaele. The mud is so deep that men drown standing up. Horses disappear into the earth. The cost for a few hundred yards is catastrophic. The Allies need new hope, and in April 1917, they get it. The United States enters the war. President Wilson frames it as a fight to make the world safe for democracy. America's entry is a blow to German morale. Their U-boats had resumed unrestricted attacks, gambling they could defeat Britain before America arrived. But they were wrong. American troops arrive slowly at first. Many are untrained. Some are eager, and most are shocked by the trench warfare awaiting them. But their presence is a turning point. On the Italian front, disaster strikes at Caporetto. Austro-German forces smash through Italy's lines, capturing tens of thousands of prisoners. The Italian army nearly collapses. Allied troops rush to reinforce Italy. The front stabilizes, but barely. Italy is bleeding, and its political system trembles. In the Middle East, Arab forces rise up against the Ottoman Empire. Sharif Hussein of Mecca and T.E. Lawrence of Arabia, launch a campaign of revolt, sabotage, and desert warfare. The Ottomans, stretched thin and fighting on multiple fronts, begin to lose ground. Baghdad falls to the British. Jerusalem follows. The empire is dying from within. Germany launches a desperate final offensive in the spring of 1918. It's called the Ludendorff Offensive, or the Kaiserschlacht. It is their last chance to win before American troops arrive in full. At first, it works. German stormtroopers punch through Allied lines using infiltration tactics. They bypass strong points, attack weak flanks, and spread chaos behind the front. Towns fall. The trenches are overrun. The German army surges closer to Paris than it has since 1914. The Allies are in shock. But success breeds overextension. German supply lines are stretched thin, and reserves are exhausted. The soldiers begin to loot instead of fight. The Allies regroup. American divisions pour into the front. French and British commanders rally their forces for a counterstrike. At the Second Battle of the Marne, Germany's momentum dies. The Allied counteroffensive begins in August 1918. It is fast, brutal, and coordinated. For the first time in years, the front moves decisively, but against Germany. Tanks roll forward in mass numbers. Artillery is now used with pinpoint coordination. Planes spot enemy targets from above. German troops begin to surrender in droves. Others retreat in disarray. Their commanders can no longer promise victory. Back in Germany, Revolution brews. People are starving, the economy is crumbling, and the monarchy is failing. The myth of German invincibility is shattered. The German Navy plans a final suicidal attack against the British fleet, but the sailors refuse. The Kiel Mutiny begins. It spreads across the country. Workers join the uprising. Soldiers refuse orders. The government cannot contain it. The writing's on the wall. On November 9, 1918, Kaiser Wilhelm II abdicates and flees to the Netherlands. The German Empire is over. A republic is declared. Austro-Hungary collapses completely. Its empire fractures into separate nations: Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, Hungary, and Austria. The dual monarchy vanishes. The Ottoman Empire sues for peace. Its Arab provinces are already lost. What remains will soon be carved up by foreign powers. Bulgaria is the first central power to sign an armistice, followed by the Ottomans and Austria-Hungary. Germany fights on, and even that will not last long. In a forest clearing near, German delegates sign the armistice agreement. The date is set, November 11, 1918. At the 11th hour, the guns fall silent. After 4 years of slaughter, the world breathes, stunned and scarred. All across Europe, men emerge from trenches in disbelief. Birds sing. Where artillery once roared, the air is still. But beneath the silence is trauma. The victory is not clean. Millions are dead. Millions more are broken. The war is over, but the cost is incalculable. Old empires lie in ruins. Borders have shifted. Trust has vanished. The surviving soldiers return home as different men. They carry wounds that cannot be seen. Many will never speak of what they saw. The lost generation has no parades. They have only silence and a world they no longer recognize. In the rubble of fallen empires, new nations rise, some with hope, others with hatred. And in the shadows of peace, the seeds of another, even greater war have already begun to grow.